Can you feel it? We're in the cosmic cradle of change. That's right. In July 2026, we went through Bobo's cradle or basket, which brought in galactic change thanks to the outer planet placements at 4 degrees of air and fire. That was the beginning. Then we had shifts with Mercury going direct at the end of July, Saturn going retrograde. The nodes of the moon change sign on July 26, 2026 through March 26, 2028, creating a whole new paradigm. And then we had a full moon at the end of July, leading into eclipse season in August 2026. Things are certainly speeding up. That includes time, that includes our experience of reality. Maybe you're experiencing more synchronicities, more vivid dreams, sudden opportunities. Things are ending, weird stuff going on for people. A lot of discoveries, a lot of revelations, a lot of things being a lot of things are being revealed. And also, I'm hearing from my clients as an astrologer, psychic healer, spiritual teacher of over 30 years, my clients keep coming back with the same sharing that they have been feeling overwhelmed emotionally. One moment feeling really good and connected, and then the next distracted, all kinds of things coming into their frequency that feel out of control. Well, you're not imagining it. We're moving through one of the most energetically accelerated periods of 2026 here during the summer of 2026 into the fall. It's a moment in astrology when many cycles are overlapping, creating what I call a cosmic convergence. Rather than experiencing one of these planetary influences at a time, which is what really happens normally, it's all happening, it's all hitting us so fast. What do you think that is? Well, it's activating a massive awakening, and we are navigating many long-term evolutionary forces at the same time. So take a breath. It's a lot. I'm going to unpack it now and give you some tools to navigate these times. These energies can feel exhilarating because they're opening new doors, they're bringing things in, but they're also disorienting at the same time. And so in this video, I'm going to talk less about prediction, what we can expect, because actually it's harder to talk about prediction when we're in this evolutionary shifting of the matrix. Things that may have been outcomes won't happen. And what I have noticed that we're sitting in a portal of potentiality or possibility, which is governed by how we react, about how we respond to the energies coming in. And one of the keynotes I've experienced is we have to be flexible. So how do we remain centered as we evolve so quickly? How can we become conscious creators during this time of flux? And what can we do with these incredible manifestation energies that are available in the second part of 2026? Stay tuned and you'll find out how. So first of all, you need to know we are living through a collective frequency shift. One of the themes I keep hearing from my clients is, I don't feel like the same person anymore. Well, you're probably not. We are evolving and accelerating fast ourselves, and our life is hitting us at warp speed compared to what it was like a year ago. Astrologically, as I said, we're moving through one of the biggest energetic upgrades in decades. So what's just happened since, let's say, June? Jupiter shifted into Leo, all about expansion. Big boy Jupiter is bringing in big love and heart-centered reality. So it's in Leo, expanding confidence, creativity, and heart-centered awareness and leadership. we've entered an entirely new karmic cycle when the nodes moved into North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. And like I said in some of my other short videos, that with the North Node in Aquarius, we can look back to the historical precedents of when it was last in Aquarius, 2008 and 2009. And yes, that was a time of economic shifting and economic collapse of some old systems. And basically, it were the ones that were not built on realities that would get us through the future. Those Ponzi scheme things like that movie, The Big Short, talks about, and the mortgage whole pyramid fell, as well as a lot of the old investment companies like Shearson Lehman. So that was an economic reform, shall we say. And then the previous North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo was during 89 and 1990, which is when the Berlin Wall collapsed, which was a new paradigm, the end of the Soviet Union and the beginning of a new global system, a new global hierarchy, so to speak. So we're also dealing with Saturn going retrograde in Aries since late July. We have very powerful lunar activations every month, and moving into the August eclipse is which on the 12th, it is again highlighting that Aquarius moon and a Leo sun. So here we have three themes of the Aquarius Leo happening in the late weeks of July and through mid-August. So what's Aquarius? We have to look at that is the group, and Leo is the individual. Aquarius is the people. Leo are the leaders. So we're going to see major reforms in leadership. And then we also have Pluto going through the sign of Aquarius. And at some point in 2027, late 2027 into early 2028, Pluto and the nodes are going to come together, Pluto and the North Node. So we are going to be launched into our future. So what about Pluto? Well, Pluto is purging, purifying. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. It transforms consciousness in Aquarius. So think about it. We are not just simply experiencing events. We're becoming different people. We're transforming. And that's why we can feel simultaneously excited and nervous at the same time. That's why anxiety might be at an all-time high. People are feeling so overwhelmed because you think that these upgrades and becoming more conscious or spiritual is that you're going to always feel peaceful. No, it's the opposite. We get stirred up. We're forced to release old patterns. That's not always comfortable. We have to let go of what no longer serves. And a lot of people will do that kicking and screaming. And so let's talk about the higher frequencies. Higher frequencies are interesting because they feel like somebody is shining a light on something that we don't necessarily want to see. Okay. So there may be things that have been hidden. We come into a higher frequency or alignment, and we have to let go of what were comfortable patterns or default patterns, psychologically, emotionally, and otherwise. And for most people, that's really hard to let go of, because what will happen is, as consciousness expands, we have to look at those unresolved emotions, limiting beliefs, unhealthy relationships, and outdated identities, how we relate, how we identify ourselves. They'll come to the surface, and it's not punishment. It's that you've outgrown these and they need to be released. And a lot of people will judge this process and think they're doing something wrong or they're being punished or penalize it. But it's actually evidence that you're doing something right. Your nervous system no longer wants to hold those energies or almost like detrimental frequencies in your body. It's trying to adjust. So with the astrology of the nodes, the South Node in Leo is asking us to release something that we've carried that has been false. And usually it comes from ego. Ego is not soul. Ego is how we identify to feel safe, or an old pattern that worked before but will no longer work. This is true as we grow as individuals without all this major planetary action. Throw in all this major planetary action, it's intense. And so the North Node in Aquarius is saying to determine who we are by what we can contribute or how we can bring our gifts to the forefront. And that's a manifestation of consciousness. So then we go into the month of August, which is opening the portal, starting with the 8-8 Lionsgate, and I will make other videos about that. And I have podcasts on that as well. But that is a huge shift every year. This year, it's amplified due to the nature of it happening so close to the solar eclipse in Leo. Yes. So it's the solar eclipse happening in Leo on the 12th. We've had the full moon in Aquarius on the 29th of July. And then on the 12th of August, it's the new moon in Leo in the Lion's Gate portal. And so this is intense. It's going to bring heightened spiritual awareness, intention setting. And again, I mean, we had the portal of manifestation during July in Bobo's cradle, or the cosmic cradle, Bobo's basket. However, a lot of people were more stirred up. That was more of almost like a frantic, crazy, energetic, and most people may have been just dealing with what was being thrown at them instead of using it as a manifestation window. And now in August, we can use the Lionsgate portal as a manifestation, and certainly as another release cycle. So a new moon is always new beginnings. Solar eclipse tend to occlude it. They can delay it. It can be delayed, but you still should be focusing on what you want to bring in, because eclipses are teaching us new ways of being in our life, and they accelerate timelines. And that's why a lot of people tend to leave their bodies around eclipses, because it's a window, it's a portal of a way to accelerate soul growth. And that even means if your soul is on the way out of physicality. So things can happen really fast around eclipses. Doors close, like something that was questionable, it's a hard no. Relationships evolve, new possibilities come in, new potentials, career paths change. Sometimes what seems unexpected is actually divine timing working for you. And so with this being a new moon in Leo, we have to think about what we want to create. How do we want to come from our heart? How do we want to manifest from a heart-centered reality and not what we think we need? It's a very, very different trajectory. And at the end of August, then we have the lunar eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse with the sun in Virgo. So we've switched out of the Leo sun into Virgo solar time. And it will be a moon in Pisces, ending the almost 2-year cycle of eclipses in the signs Virgo and Pisces. So Virgo, Pisces, you're going to be off the hook soon enough, but make the most of what it is that you need to release or bring in. So then the question becomes, with all this astrological energy constantly shifting and changing, how can we as sentient beings in our body take advantage of this energy? It's high vibrational. How can we manage it? Well, it comes back to being sentient. It comes back to connecting with the planet and being of the earth. So what can you do? Something physical. Walk every day, move your body. Maybe you do something like Tai Chi or yoga. Just move your body in a way that you feel embodied, that you feel yourself in your body, which would include doing practices like yoga and breath. Breath work is great. I've talked about doing breath. Touch a tree, sit by the ocean, sit on the grass, sit up against a rock, stretch. Remember who you are. Remember your childhood. Leo is the sign of child. And so sometimes looking at life through the eyes of a child is actually a spiritual practice. And you see everything as new and you're not clouded by what happened in your adult life. Look at everything through fresh eyes. That's a great practice. And as your soul is expanding, support your body. Maybe you have to stop taking in certain substances or foods. Maybe you need to purify. Pluto is there to help us all purify our physical bodies with what we take in. We also have to protect our energy, which means maybe not going out into crowded situations when you're feeling vulnerable, or even you feel like, I need to take the most of this. I need to take advantage of the sun and go out to this outdoor concert when you're feeling very draggy or tired. Choose what you pull into your field. Maybe you're cutting back on social media. Maybe you're cutting back on your technology. That's not a bad thing. The nervous system needs to decompress. Practice stillness. The answers you're looking for rarely arrive through constant mental activity. They arrive in silence, and act accordingly. It is through the silence or the calming of the mind that we get our next directives. And then that allows us to go with the flow. So we have to be flexible, which means find out what the universe wants us to do. It may redirect us into something better than we imagined. And so we have to adapt. Pay attention to signs and synchronicities. That is the language of the universe. The universe is always communicating in songs, repeated numbers, the way that people reach out to you or that you hear from people, synchronicities, unexpected conversations, book falling off the shelves, people showing up in your life at the right time. Become curious and accepting of these. And then you want to work with manifestation. When the nervous system is calm, when you feel in a calm, relaxed place, then start thinking about what you want to bring in. It's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about energetically aligning with what you want to bring in. So it's more like, this is what I want to experience. You're not manifesting from ego. You're manifesting from heartfelt or from vibrational matching. For instance, if you want to have more financial resources or money in your life, just feel what it would be to be free of whatever your financial burden is. How would you feel in your body? What would you do differently? How would you walk through your life? How would your thought patterns change? You wouldn't be obsessing about, this bill needs to be paid, or I can't do this because I have to pay my rent or mortgage. So go to the financial freedom in your experience and not worry about what those obligations are, because somewhere you can tap in to that self who is free of anxiety and worry. Tap into that self that is connected to source, that is sovereign, and is a spiritual being having a material experience, and not the opposite. So in that spiritual being, the manifestation, the ability to mastery on the physical plane is there. Tap into that. Alignment is magnetic. Align with that energy you want to have in your life. So if you've been feeling stretched, emotional, inspired, restless, or called to something, towards something you just can't explain, trust that you're not alone. The universe, the cosmos, is inviting you into a new chapter. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be overnight. Take all the time you need and create your new barometer of sensing energy, one where tuition becomes stronger than fear, community stronger than competition, and you're driven by purpose, not ego. You don't have to figure it all out today. Just take the next aligned step. Trust your intuition. honor your nervous system, stay grounded, keep your heart open, and the universe may surprise you. Thank you for joining me at Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jill Jardine 2186. Follow me on social media and get on my newsletter list through my website, jilljardine.com. Until the next video, keep your eyes on the stars, your feet on the earth, and your heart open to the infinite possibilities that are already all around you. Namaste.